Today was eventful, okay? Hello everyone, my name is ShaineRiley and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my wrap up for January. Now, January felt so long, it felt like 2 months in one. So I read 6 books, pretty much all fantasy, and I'm not mad about it. I had a great time. I did find some 5-star reads. Now, I feel like this year there's going to be a lot of 5 stars, and it's just because I feel like I am getting caught up on a lot of popular book talk, booktube, book Instagram books. I feel like I need a haircut, like seriously, and I want bangs. Starting out, we have Lightlark. I rated this a 3.5. There was nothing wrong with this book. I just do think that since this is a love triangle, I don't really like love triangles, and you have main character Isla, and she is like in this love triangle with this man named Oro and Grimm. Oro is like very sparkly, gold, glittery, and Grimm is very dark and gray. But I do think that this was a very fluffy, light type of fantasy. Like, there are high stakes in the sense, like you have this island where every 100 years it shows up and these people try to help out their realms and uplift their curses and they have to fight to win. But there is a little bit of a mystery going on with the ruler, the King Oro, and you kind of figure that out like towards the middle of the book, I think. Maybe towards like the end of it, like 75% or 70%. There wasn't a lot of like grappling, like fighting for the love of Isla, and I don't know if that's because we're gonna get a second, a third book, and then she just announced that there's 2 more coming out in this series, which I think is great and phenomenal. I do think that this was a very beautiful story, but I just don't think it was super high stakes. Like, it's a fantasy, but it's not like a hardcore dark fantasy where like a bunch of crazy stuff is happening. It's like there's a good plot, a good storyline that's going to keep me entertained. The story's interesting, the characters are interesting. When I looked at the fan art of this on Pinterest, it was absolutely beautiful, and I just think that the way that the story is told is very easy to understand. To me, the romance was on a back burner, which is perfectly fine. It doesn't need to be at the forefront all the time, but I do think that since it's a love triangle, I thought there'd be a little bit more fighting love triangle wise, and so I don't really know who to go for, like who to pick. Ugh. This is one that I listened to on audiobook. I really enjoyed it. I'm really upset that I did not read this sooner. I genuinely think that the mystery aspect of this was so entertaining. Main character Pip takes on a senior assignment, I believe it's a senior assignment, and she kind of picks this, it's not even a cold case because it's a case that was solved, or the town thinks it was solved. They do have the killer pinned on who it was, but Pip doesn't believe that that was the person that did it, and she wants to try to fight for him and his family, and his brother especially. I truly think that she's a very smart character. She's very driven. She's very powerful. I thought this would kind of just be like she's a high schooler and like she's doing some investigating, but like no, this chick, she actually broke into someone's house. She genuinely was being authentic in her research. There was romance in here, but it was very tiny, and again, I don't mind if there's a little bit of romance if the story is super captivating. Her parents are also super supportive of her. They actually do tell her, like, you're working too hard for school projects and stuff, like you kind of need to take a break or like calm down because you're stressing everyone else out. It is gonna get messy when people find out that their secrets can be uncovered, because it's not just this one case she's trying to figure out, it's unraveling all these other secrets that these people have in this town, and they obviously don't want to get caught. So I just think this was a great story. Whoa, ow. Another book I rated a 5-star. This was one of the first books I picked up this month. As you can tell, it's been through a lot. I was taking this as many places that I could until I realized that it was on Kindle Unlimited, and I do have a Kindle and it's so much easier to read. I was reading it a lot faster on my Kindle. The plot of this book intrigued me when I heard other people talking about it, and I just had to buy it immediately. I feel like I've only known about this book since I just love dark romance. I truly want to get into so many more dark romance books. I have a lot on my shelves right now. There's so many more that I want to buy. Especially there's a bunch on Kindle Unlimited that once I read them on there, then I'll just buy the physical copy. Like, I just really want this year to be big on fantasy, dark romance, all that fun stuff. And the main plot of this, you have main character Lauren. She's in a world where there's a lot of mythical creatures and she's human. And there's a bounty hunter that goes after her, and he finds out that she's human, and he's like, wait, this doesn't seem right, because humans are on a very low scale in their society, and he just doesn't think it's fair. He kind of feels bad that he's targeting this girl who's defenseless, and she doesn't really know anything that's going on, and she doesn't know why people want her. This man's name is called Darren Castle, and this man is a part of a group. He's the leader of a group called the Seven Devils. They're really a big family knit group. They're so caring of each other. Obviously, yeah, they do bad things. They're bounty hunters. They catch bad people, but they genuinely have good hearts. Like, they want to try to figure out what's happening in this town, why girls are going missing, why humans are going missing. Like, it just isn't fair, and they're really wanting to get to the bottom of it. So they help her, and they get into a lot of stuff. I genuinely have not read a book with this big of a story in it, but every single time I read it, it was going by so fast. If you're someone who wants to get into dark romance, if you heard about reading this but you're intimidated by the size of the book, this is a book where you are going to enjoy your time reading it. It's 100% worth it. I cannot wait to see what the other two are about. Another book that I rated a 5-star. I know, I had 3 5-stars this month, which is great and amazing, but I know some people are like, what are you doing? I absolutely love Belladonna. I love Foxglove. I'm obsessed with this story. It's Bridgerton Regency era vibes, but it's dark fantasy. So if you're not familiar, Death is like a physical entity, and he kind of follows main character Signa Farrow, and a bunch of her guardians end up dead, and her parents died during this big party. Everyone was like poisoned. It was horrible. Things that people do to her are actually so insane and unfair, especially during this time where women are just looked down upon. They don't have very many rights. They can't really speak up. They're looked at as crazy. Any kind of natural herbs or things like that are looked at as witchcraft. So, like, it's really a tough time, okay? I absolutely love Blythe. In the beginning of the book, when you kind of first see them interact, you're kind of like, whoa, this character's crazy. But then once you understand her character, you understand why. Like, she does not want to get married to a rich man. Like, her family's rich, and she just knows that people are marrying her for money, so she's like, no, I don't care. Signa actually is in Thorn Grove at the beginning of the first book, and you hear Foxglove being talked about, but she cannot inherit Foxglove until she's of age. In this book, she's also in Thorn Grove at the beginning, but then she is of age, and she also has to go back to Foxglove from a certain situation. They describe the artwork as being like odd. It's just different how you see their household and how her parents had decorated, which I think is really sweet, that you can see everything is kind of like frozen in time from how her parents had left it. But there's lots of ghosts on the property, and she can see ghosts. So it's very interesting to like see all that. It was very spooky, but like just whimsical is the only way I can like describe it. You also get Blythe's perspective in this book. You see Blythe understand the life that she's now a part of and living. I really just enjoy this world so much, and I'm gonna be really sad when the third one ends. I really would love to read anything else by Adeline Grace. I think she's an amazing author so far, what I've read from her. We're getting down to the last 2 books. Now, I will say, this one was the lowest rated book of the month. I rated it a 3. It has a very interesting plot. At the beginning of the book, it gave very much Divergent Hunger Games vibes, like people being picked for trials. We're just gonna call her Elle. Elle is main character, and she is a part of this group that her parents had put her into when she was younger to pay off their debt. When she got older, she actually stayed with the group because her parents passed, and she has nowhere to go. I think I'm just not the biggest fan of Greek mythology. I do think it's very interesting, like the actual like history of it. Zeus is just a nasty character. Like, he's just gross. I don't care for him. He's probably the worst out of all the gods. The way that the trials were happening were very repetitive. Obviously, I do think that some books are gonna have similar plots in certain aspects. I don't really know how to describe this. I don't think that that's the author's fault. There's actually a second book coming out, so I would love to continue it. I think my thing is they seem distant to me at the very beginning, and then towards the end they got closer, but it just didn't feel like it matched very well. And also where they were at. Like, I just think that this was a great story in theory, but it didn't really translate in my brain very well, the way that I was envisioning everything. So I rated it a 3. I'm gonna continue it. I would listen to the second one. The last book I read is Iron Flame, and I read this in preparation for Onyx Storm. This year I really want to finish series that I'm in the middle of, and I say that very seriously because I have so many new series on my shelves that I want to start. I rated this one a 4. Don't think that's bad. I do think I enjoyed Fourth Wing a lot more. There's so much character building in that one and world building because you're introduced to it the first time, but I feel like the second one, there's so many more locations being mentioned, which is great because, again, story building. It was a little confusing, but then when you really think about it, you're like, okay, maybe I don't need to pay attention to the location as much and just the actual storyline of who's fighting who and why someone did this and all that crazy stuff. They're 2 different people. They had different upbringings, but they're also the same in ways. It's a given that they're gonna fight, that they're gonna have disagreements, life and death situation, but I just think that at some point it got really upsetting to just see them not getting along. I think it was just overwhelming. I was like, okay, you guys are mad at each other, but then you're fine. End of the book, you leave off on a cliffhanger, and I am so intrigued to see what happens in book 3. I've seen so many people crying when they read it. I've seen some people do spoiler videos on YouTube, which I do want to watch because some people, I genuinely enjoy their content, but I haven't been able to watch them because I'm trying to avoid spoilers. So I do want to read the 3rd one next month. I rated this a 4, I rated Fourth Wing a 5. I think that's all I really have to say. Obviously the story progressed, but there was a lot of fighting between our 2 main characters, and a few things have been uncovered in the 2nd book, but I do think it was good. I don't think it was giving 2nd book syndrome. I know some people did not like this at all compared to Fourth Wing. I do think it was good, but it wasn't as good as Fourth Wing. I think that book has left a really great impression, and that book in itself is just amazing. I don't think this is just a placeholder. I do think that there's things that progress and it makes sense, but because there was so much fighting between the 2 main characters, it just was sad. I was like, guys, come on now. Like, there were certain aspects where it made sense why they were upset, and then other things I was kind of like, okay, that seems unnecessary. Like, it was just odd, you know? And I think that is it for all the books that I read. I will say this book wasn't on my TBR for this month. The book that I did not get to that was on my TBR, Metal Slinger, I did not get to, and now that I'm thinking of it, I think I would have read this instead of The Games Gods Play, but I'm glad that I did get that book off my TBR, but I do want to try to read this very soon. We are now going to switch angles so you guys can see me fill out my little book journal and everything that I've completed this month, and then that'll be it for today's reading vlog. I am really excited to now include these in my wrap-ups and in my TBR, just me filling out everything, and then for my TBR setting up everything. We're just gonna go ahead and get started, and I will see you guys in a little bit. For everyone, so hello, hi. The first page, I just quickly filled in all the books that I read. I read 6. The stats page, I'm actually not going to fill out till the end of the year. This is my little book library. I just colored in the books that I read and the ratings for them, and hopefully by the end of the year this will look very colorful and not just yellow, greens, and blues. I mean, obviously I don't want to say that because that means it would be a 1-star book or a 2-star book, but you know, I don't want it to be boring. So this is my TBR page for the month. So the reason why I'm doing these monthly, I'm only picking 6 books. I mean, I obviously can fit more books than 6, but I do want to try to read my TBR books and then any other books that I can read that month. But the reason why I'm putting them like this is because I want to see the books that I'm picking for myself at the beginning of the month and what I'm actually reading and completing, just so that I know, like, am I actually good at staying true to the books that are currently on my radar that I want first priority. I just want to make sure I'm being consistent in what I want to read, what I am reading, and the only book that I didn't get to is Metal Slingers, so I'm pretty happy with that. I think 5 out of 6 is great. Whoa, I put these ones crooked. We have monthly faves, which I did not print that sticker out yet, but I decided that my monthly fave, I think, was City of Gods and Monsters, but I really wanted to pick Foxglove because I'm obsessed with that world, but because I rated that one a 5, I also rated Belladonna a 5. I truly think that if I read Belladonna this year, I would have put that as my favorite of the month. Because I read it last year, I was like, you know what, let me give another book series a chance. This is my bracket situation just to help pick the read of my year of 2025 that's my favorite, but that will again be later. So I just filled out City of Gods and Monsters. I just filled out as many of the little alphabet challenges that I could. This one I actually did update, but I did print out the games Gods Play, and then I also filled out Belladonna. I filled out City of Gods and Monsters, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I think that was it. We are done with our reading journals. So, I think that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you guys do enjoy my little book journaling, please leave a comment down below. If there's anything else that I should add to my book journal, also please let me know, because I obviously want as many fun challenges as possible. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye. Peace. Oh, I can't reach. Me.